A woman in her mid-50s messaged me at 2:17 a.m. one night. She wrote, "I've been eating clean, walking every day, even skipping dinner sometimes. But this belly fat, it just won't go. I don't recognize my body anymore." And I get it. Maybe her story feels a little like yours. You used to eat whatever you wanted, and your body bounced back. But now every pound seems to stick, especially around the waist. The belly won't budge, the scale won't move, and the frustration starts to seep into everything. Your sleep, your energy, your confidence. And the worst part? You're doing all the right things, or at least what used to be the right things. Cutting calories, working out, maybe even skipping meals, and yet nothing is working like it did in your 30s. So let me ask you a simple question. What if the reason your belly fat won't go away has nothing to do with your willpower, and everything to do with what's happening inside your body after 40? Because here's the truth. After a certain age, fat loss doesn't follow the same rules. Your hormones change, your metabolism slows, your body becomes more resistant to stress and insulin. And if you don't adapt to these changes, even the strictest diet can fail. That's exactly what we're talking about today. I'm going to show you 10 things that actually work, not trendy, not extreme, but truly effective, especially for burning stubborn belly fat after 40. And stay with me until the end, because strategy number 7 might just change how you see weight loss forever. Let's begin. The truth about belly fat after 40. Let's start with something that surprises a lot of people. Belly fat after 40 isn't just about calories or willpower. It's deeply tied to how your body evolves with age, especially your hormones, your metabolism, and even your stress response. What used to work in your 30s, cutting carbs, doing a few crunches, skipping meals, often stops working as the years go by. And here's why. After 40, your body starts to naturally lose muscle mass, a process called sarcopenia. Less muscle means a slower metabolism, which makes it easier to gain fat and harder to lose it, especially around the waist. For women, declining estrogen levels after menopause trigger more fat storage in the abdominal area. For men, dropping testosterone plays a similar role. And to make matters worse, your body becomes more sensitive to stress, leading to elevated cortisol, the hormone that tells your body to store fat right in the belly. But let me tell you a story. A patient of mine, Linda, was 53 when she came to me, frustrated beyond words. She had been eating clean, doing yoga 5 days a week, and hadn't touched sugar in months. Yet, every morning, she woke up and stared at the same belly that refused to shrink. "I feel like I'm living in a stranger's body," she told me. And honestly, her experience is more common than you think. What Linda, and many others, didn't realize is that abdominal fat after 40 is not just cosmetic. It's a metabolic signal. That deep visceral fat, the kind that surrounds your organs, doesn't just sit there quietly. It's hormonally active, pumping out inflammatory chemicals that increase your risk of heart disease, type 2 diabetes, and even certain cancers. It's not just about how your genes fit, it's about how your body functions. But here's the hopeful part. This isn't irreversible. When you understand why your body is holding on to fat, you can work with it, not against it. And that's the key shift. You don't need to suffer through endless crunches or starvation diets. You need a smarter, kinder strategy tailored to this phase of life. In the next section, we'll look at one of the most common mistakes people over 40 make when trying to lose weight, and why eating too little might be doing more harm than good. Why starving yourself doesn't work, and what to do instead. If you've ever said to yourself, "I just need to eat less," you're not alone. For decades, we've been told that weight loss is simple math. Calories in, calories out. And while there's some truth to that, the full picture is much more complex, especially after 40. What many people don't realize is that eating too little, especially for too long, can backfire in ways that are frustrating, confusing, and even harmful. Let me explain. When you drastically cut calories, your body doesn't cheer and start melting fat. Instead, it panics. It thinks you're in survival mode, a famine. So what does it do? it slows everything down. Your metabolism drops, your thyroid hormones, which help regulate your energy and fat burning, decline. Your body starts breaking down muscle for fuel, and muscle is the very tissue that keeps your metabolism active. So now, not only are you low on energy, but your body is burning even fewer calories than before. Worst of all, when you eventually eat more again, which is almost inevitable, your body is primed to store that food as fat, especially in the belly. It's not failure, it's biology. I worked with a man named James, 61 years old, who had been eating less than 1,200 calories a day for almost 2 months. He lost weight quickly at first, but then hit a wall. His energy plummeted. He felt cold all the time, and despite eating so little, his belly wasn't shrinking anymore. When we measured his body composition, we found that much of the weight he had lost was actually muscle. Once we adjusted his diet, bringing him up to a more sustainable level and increasing his protein, not only did his energy return, but his belly fat finally started to decrease. Slowly, yes, but steadily and without sacrificing his health. The key insight here is this: weight loss is not just about eating less, it's about eating smart. A moderate, sustainable calorie deficit, about 20% below your maintenance level, is far more effective and kinder to your body. It protects your muscle, keeps your metabolism stable, and allows your body to let go of fat gradually without triggering that survival panic. If you're not sure where to start, using an online calculator or speaking with a nutritionist can help you find your baseline. Coming up next, we'll talk about the most underrated nutrient when it comes to losing fat, and why protein could be your best friend in this journey. The protein rule that keeps you burning fat all day. If I could choose just one dietary change that makes the biggest difference for people over 40 trying to lose fat, it would be this: prioritize protein. Not in a trendy, high-protein diet kind of way, but as a daily practical habit that supports your metabolism, preserves your muscle, and keeps you feeling full and satisfied. Most people think of protein as just muscle food, but it does so much more, especially when you're in a fat loss phase. Here's what's fascinating. Out of all the macronutrients, carbs, fats, and protein has the highest thermic effect. That means your body actually burns more calories just digesting and processing protein than it does with other foods. Around 20 to 30% of the calories you eat from protein are used up during digestion alone. Compare that to just 5 to 10% for carbs and 0 to 3% for fats. So in simple terms, when you eat more protein, you burn more calories, even at rest. But the real magic happens in how protein protects your muscle while you're losing fat. After 40, our bodies are naturally inclined to lose lean mass, especially if we're eating in a calorie deficit. Without enough protein, your body will turn to muscle for fuel. But when you give it the right amount of protein, you send a signal that says, preserve this muscle, burn the fat instead. That's exactly what we want. Let me share the story of Carol, a 58-year-old teacher. She had been trying to lose weight for years, mostly by cutting carbs and eating smaller portions. But she was always hungry, and the moment she went off track, the weight came right back. When we looked at her diet, we realized she was barely getting 40 grams of protein a day, less than half of what her body actually needed. We made one simple shift. We added a source of lean protein at every meal. Eggs in the morning, chicken or fish at lunch, Greek yogurt in the afternoon. Within a month, she wasn't just losing weight. She had more energy, fewer cravings, and she actually enjoyed her meals again. The takeaway? Aim for 25 to 30 grams of high-quality protein in every meal. Not only will it support your metabolism and help you retain muscle, but it'll make staying on track so much easier. And if you're plant-based, don't worry. Lentils, tofu, tempeh, and beans can also do the job beautifully when planned right. In the next section, we'll explore how cardio fits into the fat loss puzzle, and why doing more isn't always the answer. Cardio is good, but this is better. Strength training after 40. For many people over 40, the go-to weight loss strategy is simple. Do more cardio. Walk more, jog more, get on the elliptical. And yes, cardio absolutely has its benefits. It supports heart health, burns calories, and helps manage stress. But when it comes to long-term fat loss, especially around the belly, there's one tool that's even more powerful: strength training. And if the word weights makes you nervous, don't worry, I'm not talking about turning into a bodybuilder. I'm talking about something far more essential: building the muscle that helps you burn fat more efficiently, even while you sleep. Here's the science. Muscle is metabolically active tissue. That means the more lean muscle you have, the more calories your body burns at rest. In fact, for every pound of muscle, your body burns roughly 6 extra calories per day just to maintain it. It doesn't sound like much, but over time, and over your whole body, that adds up. More importantly, strength training creates what's called the afterburn effect, or EPOC, excess post-exercise oxygen consumption. It's a fancy way of saying your body keeps burning calories for up to 24 to 48 hours after a good strength workout. Compare that to cardio, which usually stops burning as soon as your workout ends. Let me tell you about Mark, a 64-year-old retired firefighter who came to me after months of doing long walks every morning. He was frustrated that his weight had plateaued and his belly wasn't budging. When we introduced 2 simple 30-minute strength sessions each week, focusing on basic bodyweight movements like squats, push-ups, and resistance band rows, things started to change. His energy came back, his sleep improved, and after 8 weeks, he had lost 3 inches from his waist without adding any extra cardio. The real insight here is this: after 40, your body responds better to preserving and building muscle than to burning out through endless cardio. You don't need a gym membership or heavy weights to get started, just a simple, consistent strength routine that targets major muscle groups. 2 to 3 times a week is a great place to begin. Coming up next, we'll dive into a surprising factor that most people overlook: the timing of your meals, and how eating late could be secretly sabotaging your fat loss progress. The timing of your meals matters more than you think. Most people trying to lose weight focus on what they eat, and that's important. But here's something that often gets overlooked. When you eat can be just as powerful as what you eat, especially after 40. Our bodies follow a natural rhythm called the circadian clock, which influences everything from our energy levels to how we process food. Simply put, your body is better at digesting and using food earlier in the day and worse at it at night. Eating late, especially heavy meals high in carbs and fat, can throw your metabolism off track and lead to more fat storage, particularly around your midsection. Let's break it down. In the morning and early afternoon, your body is primed to use nutrients efficiently. Insulin sensitivity is higher, meaning your body can use carbs for energy instead of storing them as fat. But at night, insulin sensitivity drops, digestion slows, and your body naturally prepares for rest, not processing large meals. That late-night dinner or bedtime snack, more likely to be stored than burned. I remember working with Susan, a 56-year-old nurse, who often skipped breakfast and had her biggest meal at 8 or 9 p.m. after a long shift. She wasn't overeating, but the timing was working against her. She struggled with belly fat and felt bloated most mornings. Once we made a small change, adding a protein-rich breakfast and shifting her main meal earlier in the day, the results were noticeable. Within a few weeks, her energy improved, she was sleeping better, and the bloating started to fade. Her waistline followed shortly after. The takeaway? Aim to eat your larger meals earlier in the day, ideally finishing dinner at least 3 hours before bedtime. Breakfast should never be an afterthought. Think of it as setting your metabolism for the day, and if you're hungry at night, choose something light and protein-based, like a small portion of cottage cheese or a handful of almonds, to avoid blood sugar spikes. Up next, we'll talk about something sneaky and surprisingly common that could be sabotaging your fat loss without you even noticing. The sugar hiding in your drinks. The silent belly fat builders, sugar and liquid calories. If you're eating healthy, watching your portions, and still not losing belly fat, it's time to ask a tough question. What are you drinking? Because for many people over 40, one of the biggest fat loss blockers isn't on their plate, it's in their cup. Liquid calories, especially from sugary drinks, are sneaky. They don't fill you up, they don't trigger the same fullness signals in your brain, and yet they can quietly add hundreds of calories to your day, while spiking your blood sugar and promoting belly fat storage without you even realizing it. Let's be clear, this isn't just about soda. Sure, a regular can of soda contains 140 to 150 calories and about 10 teaspoons of sugar, but the real culprits are often the healthy-looking drinks. Fruit juices, sweetened teas, energy drinks, fancy coffee beverages loaded with cream and syrup, and even some smoothies. They might seem harmless, even nutritious, but many are packed with sugar that your body quickly absorbs, triggering a spike in insulin. And insulin, as you've heard, is the hormone that tells your body store fat, especially around the middle. I had a patient named Greg, 59 years old, who was doing everything right, eating clean, walking daily, limiting portions. But his belly fat wasn't budging. After reviewing his routine, we noticed something. Every morning he grabbed a natural green juice from the store, 300 calories and nearly 40 grams of sugar. He also sipped on sweet tea throughout the day. That's over 500 calories from liquid sugar, with no real satisfaction or satiety. Once he replaced those with water, black coffee, and sparkling water with lime, he started dropping inches from his waist without changing anything else. The insight is simple but powerful. Your brain doesn't register liquid calories the same way it does solid food. You can drink hundreds of calories and still feel hungry. That's why cutting sugary drinks can be one of the fastest, most painless ways to reduce belly fat. Your best bet? Stick with water, herbal teas, unsweetened coffee, or naturally flavored sparkling water. And if you love something sweet, save it for a treat, not a daily habit. Next, we'll shift to a more foundational topic, hydration. Because even something as simple as drinking enough water can dramatically change how your body burns fat and keeps it off. The overlooked strategy: sleep and stress management. We often think of fat loss as a game of food and exercise. Eat better, move more. And while those are absolutely important, there's another piece of the puzzle that's often ignored, but critical, especially after 40. Managing your sleep and stress. You could be eating perfectly and exercising consistently, but if your body is stuck in a state of constant tension and exhaustion, it's going to fight against your efforts to lose fat, particularly belly fat. Here's what's happening behind the scenes. When you're stressed, whether it's from work, relationships, money, or just the daily grind, your body produces more of a hormone called cortisol. Now, cortisol isn't bad, it's actually necessary. But when it stays elevated for too long, it starts to cause trouble. Chronically high cortisol levels are strongly linked to increased visceral fat, the deep, dangerous fat that wraps around your organs. And that fat doesn't just sit there, it actively contributes to inflammation, blood sugar problems, and a higher risk of heart disease. Lack of sleep only makes things worse. Just one bad night can lower your leptin, the hormone that helps you feel full, and increase ghrelin, the hormone that makes you feel hungry. That's why, after a sleepless night, you crave carbs, sugar, and comfort food. Your body is literally trying to stay awake and soothe itself with quick energy. Let me tell you about Marcia, 54, who had been dieting and exercising faithfully, but couldn't seem to drop the stubborn belly weight. When we dug a little deeper, she admitted she was sleeping barely 5 hours a night, and felt stressed from the moment she woke up. We didn't change her diet, we didn't add any new workouts. Instead, we focused on calming her evenings, shutting off screens earlier, adding a wind-down routine, and prioritizing 7 to 8 hours of sleep. Within 3 weeks, her cravings dropped, her mood lifted, and she lost 2 inches around her waist. Sometimes your body just needs rest, not more restriction. The real lesson? Fat loss is not just about what you do. It's also about how you recover. Sleep is not a luxury. It's a fat-burning tool. And managing stress isn't just about feeling better. It's about helping your body let go of the very thing you're trying to lose. Next, we'll bring everything together with a practical mindset shift. How to take action without overwhelm, starting with just one simple change. Start small, one change at a time. The 30-day fat loss mindset. When it comes to losing belly fat after 40, most people feel like they have to overhaul everything all at once. Cut out sugar, start working out every day, sleep more, eat clean. It's a long list, and it can feel overwhelming. But here's what I tell my patients, especially those who are feeling stuck or discouraged. You don't need to do everything at once. You just need to start with one small, doable change. Because sustainable fat loss isn't about perfection, it's about consistency. And consistency starts with something simple enough to repeat every single day. I once worked with a man named Tom, 62, who came to me feeling completely defeated. He had tried strict diets, expensive supplements, even intermittent fasting, but nothing stuck. He was exhausted and convinced his age was the problem. Instead of giving him another meal plan, I asked him to do just one thing for 30 days. Drink a glass of water before every meal. That's it. No calorie counting, no food restrictions, just hydrate consistently. What happened? That one change helped him eat more mindfully, reduced his cravings, and gave him a small win to build on. After 30 days, we added one more step: protein with breakfast. A month later, we added a 20-minute walk after dinner. Within 3 months, he had lost 12 pounds, and more importantly, felt hopeful again. The lesson here is simple but powerful. Real transformation doesn't come from doing everything perfectly. It comes from showing up every day for yourself, in small, manageable ways. One change practiced daily for 30 days can shift your mindset, your metabolism, and your momentum. You don't have to wait until Monday. You don't need to be ready, you just need to begin. So take a breath. Think about the strategies we've talked about: protein intake, strength training, sleep, stress, hydration, meal timing. Which one feels the easiest to start with? Pick that one. And commit to it, not forever, just for the next 30 days. Because the truth is, your body is capable of change at any age. And when you stop fighting it and start working with it, amazing things can happen. If this message resonated with you, stay tuned for the next video, where we'll explore whether hidden insulin resistance could be making belly fat harder to lose, and how to reverse it naturally, step by step. Thanks for watching. Remember, your health is your greatest asset. If you found this video helpful, give it a like, share it with someone who might need it. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel. We'll keep bringing you clear, science-backed information on obesity, weight control, and living your healthiest life, so you can take charge of your future, starting today.